Well, today is the International Day of Sign Languages. The deaf community is using the day to stress the importance of sign language and the rights of those who cannot hear. We're joined now by Dirkie Ebersohn of the National Institute for the Deaf, and interpreting for us tonight is Andries van Wyk. Dirkie, firstly, good evening to you and thank you so much for your time tonight. Let's talk about what you believe some of the biggest challenges that deaf people in South Africa face.
Thank you. The deaf people in South Africa, the biggest challenge is access to communication, access to sign language services. It's very rare that that is in place. So, for example, if you go to the hospital or you need a consultation with a psychologist, for example, very rarely would you find a sign language interpreter. If you do, it's out of your own pocket. So that's the largest challenge.
And it doesn't help that we don't necessarily have many South Africans taking on the project of learning how to use and speak in sign language.
Yes, that is very true. But that doesn't mean that there aren't any resources to learn sign language. So the NID, they have various resources to learn sign language through a course or through a dictionary, and there are others as well. So if you want to, you can, and learn. It's basic, like greetings and introducing yourself, and how are you, and so on, basic communication, but the resources are there. Just start, just do something. It's better than nothing.
Absolutely correct, 100%. So let's talk about the difficulty that you were highlighting in terms of accessing just basic government service. Would you expect and would you call for there to be more interpreters, particularly at the point where essential services such as healthcare are provided?
Absolutely, that is very necessary. If you look at other countries, for example, the United States of America, access is so easy. They have a central hub. The company is called Convo, for example. You have an interpreter who can make a phone call, and the deaf person talks with the interpreter through a video call. So the deaf person can call anyone. So we don't have that in South Africa. And that is something that will really make a large difference.
And
it also is a free service. So you don't have to pay for an interpreter out of your own pocket. In South Africa, that's not the case. You have to pay up for it out of your own pocket. So this month is Deaf Awareness Month. Next month is about mental health. How many deaf people have depression or have mental health issues, but they can't access health services? They can't access a psychologist. How do you get counseling? Deaf people are lagging behind what hearing people can experience. So mental health, it's a big issue. How do we solve that? So this month we try to raise awareness so that people will understand that deaf people have very specific needs and we need to address that.
Let's talk about how we begin to do better, particularly from a young age, so that you don't have young people in this country who are deaf growing up feeling that they're excluded from society, that, you know, they're not being accommodated in a society where they have every equal right to be in.
That's a difficult problem to solve. But in South Africa, there are several organizations for and of deaf people. And several of them do have social workers. So the deaf people who are currently at school, they should use the services that are available. So many schools do have a social worker. It doesn't matter if the social worker is deaf or hearing, but the important part is that they should be able to sign. If they can't, you need someone who will be able to interpret, but a psychologist or social worker who can sign themselves is ideal. But these schools need to be made aware that their services are accessible to deaf children. And the parents of these deaf children, they must also be made aware that there are other services that they can be referred to.
Dirkie Ebersohn, let me thank you so much for your time tonight, and of course, Andries van Wyk for the interpretation there. Thank you to both of you.